On this episode, I introduce you to the electrifying and incredibly talented Neon Bridges. Now, Mr. Bridges' beginning as a musician started even before he was born. His mom, a musician herself, played music while he was in the womb. He would teach himself to play multiple instruments before attending UT and eventually starting his career as a full-time musician. Now, a full-time paid musician isn't without work. This stuff doesn't happen overnight. But living overseas, experiencing all kinds of cultures, and a lot of perspective would give him exactly what he needed to fuel his dreams. He would grind it for years, including giving Segway tours before solidifying himself in the Austin music scene. We also talk about with great hair comes great power and responsibility. Let's jump in. Everybody, welcome to a moderately good podcast. I'm your host, Scotty, as always. And before we get started with my guest, my second attempt at a musical guest, which I predict will be way more successful than the first one. And we've already said we're half penny back, but this is my second attempt. You're going to love this guy. Before I get to him, I'm going to do my quick shout outs. Above Average Joe. He's in studio, but he doesn't want to talk on a mic. So just pretend like he's not here, I guess. You can find him at Above Average Joe on Instagram. He takes cool pictures, does all my cool stuff. My guy Jaron, No Names Originals. Make sure I got that right. He does custom bleach clothing, makes cool paintings and stuff like that. Does really cool artwork. You should check him out. Next is my guy Mo. He has a Go Bubble app that is Uber car wash detailing to your house. So they come to your house, they wash your car. You can order that all on the app. One of my newest shout outs is the Body Rebuilder. They're up in Georgetown. They're doing great work to help people be more mobile, and they work with bodybuilders and they work with just regular old people like us, right? So they're working with everybody, just trying to help your body move well. That's very important for as we age. And then my guy Joe, his side project, Whiskey Vibes. Check it out. It's a bunch of other cool pictures. It's just not of me. They're of whiskey. And he has cool facts he throws on there, and it's cool. I don't know anything about whiskey, and I learned some.
Say that again.
Rude. So how rude? Why did it even go off? I thought I'm turning my phone off right now.
Hey, whiskey. Can you remind me to wake up tomorrow? Fuck no.
Anywhoozy. So Joe's doing Whiskey Vibes. Check that out. Okay. My guy that I have on tonight that y'all are just going to love. I know him as somebody else, but I'm introducing him as Neon Bridges. So, Mr. Bridges, how's it going?
Oh, man. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Scotty.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for doing this, dude. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's quickly talk hair.
Okay. It's a long story.
Well, I mean, total long hair, don't care, right?
Yeah.
We're going long hair, don't care?
Long hair, don't care.
Yeah. I mean, totally, right?
If you're not Ariel, who are you?
I mean,
you can't go outside without a top on and still be okay in Texas.
You know what? I can't go outside yet. I have to wait another. But I did cut mine back a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So when we met, how long have we kind of know? When did we met? Like maybe met
3 years.
Did we meet?
3 years ago?
Oh no, longer than that.
God, 4 years. I mean, time is a construct of.
It was before 2016.
Oh my gosh, was it? Oh my goodness, yeah. I guess it was, huh? You know, it was back in the days of Dizzy Rooster and 6th Street being poppin', and we were down there.
And we met because we would come see your shows, and then you actually played the rehearsal dinner of me and my ex-wife, which was awesome.
Yes.
Joe,
ex-wives are awesome.
Just nod yes or no. Was it awesome?
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was so, everybody had such a good time. Such a good time.
It was a great time.
Yeah.
Beautiful ladies there.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I
I mean,
Scotty does not fuck around.
Well, I mean, I was getting married. There wasn't anything I could do necessarily. So, yeah. So, but when we met, how long was your hair when we met? Because I had short hair when we met.
It was shorter. It probably was like not even reaching the shoulders.
Yeah. So how long are you? Is this as long as you're gonna let get? Have you cut it back at all?
I've trimmed it a couple times since then, but I am under the impression that the longer it gets, the better luck I'm going to have. You know, it's kind of like Samson in the Bible. You know, the more hair, the more power. I think people, you know, they go to see the show and they're like, "There's you, and then there's your hair."
Yeah, it's great.
They're both great.
As someone that gets told they have great hair, I'm telling you, you have great hair.
Thank you.
I don't know if that makes me an expert or anything.
It's wavy for those of y'all listening at home. It's dirty blonde.
It's just the right weight. Because my hair is thick as shit.
Yeah.
And it's heavy, man.
Yeah.
Like it hurts my neck sometimes.
Like a horse mane.
Yeah. All right, let me go somewhere else with that. Anyways, okay. So
that was a good name.
So
nays up.
So Mr. Bridges, tell these fine folks where they can find you, all the things on Instagram, social media. Go ahead and give all. We'll do it probably again, but give all your quick shout outs of everywhere where they find you at to see what you do.
Okay. Well, recently just got our website up, officialneonbridges.com. So you could do that. Neon, like my brother Leon. And Instagram at neon_bridges. And, you know, you can find me on SoundCloud. You can find me on Reverb Nation, Facebook, all that stuff. Just search Neon Bridges. You're going to find me. My, you know, people are always like, Neon Bridges, where'd you get that? Is that from Leon Bridges? And I'm like, actually, it's not from Leon Bridges. A lot of people, because of my long hair, my beard back in the day, used to think I looked like Jeff Bridges.
Mm-hmm. I could see that.
They're like, you're the dude.
Yeah.
You're the fuck. And I
would be that every Halloween, by the way.
I put on a white robe.
Every Halloween, just fuck it. Yeah.
Back at the Dizzy Rooster, they're open again, by the way.
Oh, no way.
They just opened back up. But back, you know, I would, one Halloween, I was Janis Joplin because I had long hair. And I wore a dress, and the other one I was Jeff Bridges. And so Bridges was always in my mind from Walnut Creek. I was born in Walnut Creek, San Francisco, big old bridge, Golden Gate Bridge. And I just thought about, you know.
Joe said he was from that area, but you couldn't hear it because he's not talking on the podcast.
Yeah. He's he's talking now. But anyway, so I thought of this. I thought of this image. Okay, I thought of this image of me with some sunglasses on because I love to play with sunglasses on because I hate.
Lights are rough.
Lights are rough. Eye contact is even rough.
Yeah, eye contact is very rough.
Very rough. I would rather have sunglasses on. I'm not a robot, so I don't know all my words and lyrics to songs. So sometimes I'm looking at my phone or my tablet or I'm looking at my beats, and I'd rather them just not know where I'm looking. You know, I just keep my head up and do my shit. So anyways, I thought of this reflection of the Golden Gate Bridge and some sunglasses. And then I thought about the name, you know, it was at the time that Leon Bridges was coming up, and, you know, he's soulful, and everyone was, you know, in Austin was just falling in love, right? They were just like, oh my gosh. You know, don't want to get ahead of myself, right? They're like, oh man, this is like awesome. And I was like, well, you know what? Like, I'm bridging a lot of genres. I'm doing every genre back to back to back to back. I like to think of it like a star. Like I'm doing like all 5 genres. I'm doing 1 point, going all over the place. And somewhere in the middle, you're like, that's who this person is. But at the same time, I'm electrifying it by making it electronic, building beats. And so I was like, think about a song. Now, think about that song if it was presented to you as a neon sign and then it was illuminated. You know, so you see like a song, you see the song title. Now, how much cooler would that be if it was a neon sign lit up? So Neon Bridges, like I'm bridging the gap between all these genres, all these songs. And at the same time, I'm infusing an extra light into it. And I'm making that come alive in front of you, like as if it was on a bar wall.
Yeah.
Or, you know, in your studio here.
Nice.
I'm the only one out there.
And what was the website again?
officialneonbridges.com.
Nice. And we'll put all this stuff in the in the thingies, in the socials as we're like posting stuff or whatever. So my girlfriend does music. I'm a big admirer of people that do music. So tell me, like, what's your first memory of music? Like, what's your first memory? Oh, by the way, I don't know if we said this. He does music. Like, you can find him all these places, and he does music in these places.
Yes. My first memory of music, my mom, we used to live, I'm sure we might get to this later, but
this will probably just drop us right into it.
I used to live overseas, and my mom, it was in Lagos, Nigeria. I was in the second, third grade, and my mom joined a cover band called the Pounded Yams.
No way.
And she was a singer in it, and then started picking up the bass. And so she had a bass guitar teacher come over to the house, and we had a few songbooks. I should backtrack. My first introduction to music was my mom took guitar lessons when I was in the womb, and so she learned how to play the acoustic guitar when I was in the womb. And I never really heard her play. Actually, she must have not been that great at the guitar. Sorry, Mom.
No. Hey, straight up, my girlfriend plays a piano, and she would play the piano when she was pregnant. I thought it was really awesome. And then our daughter just automatically gravitated towards the piano. I think there's something there.
A stringed instrument, right?
Yeah.
So, when my mom was taking bass lessons, I hopped in, and because obviously overseas, a lot of stuff is a lot cheaper. What's an extra hour? And, I hopped in, started taking bass lessons. And my uncle, my dad's brother, was a guitar player in a cover band in Southern California, and gave me my very first electric guitar around that time as well. So I had an interest in music. I was starting to pick up the bass, and I also started picking up the guitar. I never had guitar lessons, piano lessons, anything like that until later in life. But I self-taught. After playing the bass, I realized I could just look at these books that had chord charts in them. So it would be like Elton John, Candle in the Wind, and it would just have the chords and the where you put your fingers, the little black dots, and I would just learn how to play that way. And so I kind of self-taught myself how to do that, along with doing the bass lessons. So once I learned the bass guitar and what all the notes were, I just kind of translated that to the acoustic guitar, and then self-taught on the piano, and went to music school after that, and they tried to teach me how to do it the right way, and I did terribly.
Did you learn anything there? Did you learn anything
in music school?
Yeah.
I learned that I'm not good at attending classes. I was at UT. I was a voice major because I tried to just get in for business, and they said no way. And then
business is pretty hard.
the choir was like, we really need male singers, and I was like, okay, I think I can do this. I was a madrigal in high school and did all sorts of singing, and so I learned a couple songs, auditioned. They told me I can get in early. I can get in at the regular time if I went to music school, and so voice was my major. And I ended up failing choir because I didn't attend the classes.
Dang.
That's the only class I failed was choir as a voice major at UT. It's embarrassing because I had 3 solos for the year end concert, and I was like, "There's no way they're gonna fail me because I'm the soloist." And they did it anyways, and I'm convinced to this day they did that because they wanted to get me into the boys choir because I was in the mixed choir. And so the next semester I had to make up the credit. And so they had me in the mixed choir and the boys choir. Or the men's choir.
Yeah.
Or whatever. You can't identify these days, but
Well, there was
low voice choir. Hey, so we got some interaction.
People that identify as males were over there.
Yes. The extra boomy choir. Yeah, it was I like I said, I had to take class piano as part of the, base curriculum of being in the music school. But my focus actually was, my minor was audio engineering, and my major was music business, which didn't exist when I started in school. They just told me, hey, it's coming. And I started doing it at UT, and they were like, it's going to be here. It's going to be here. And about my junior year, I said, you know what? My girlfriend at the time had already moved out to LA. She got a job working at a William Morris talent agency. And so I was like, I'm going to go out to LA. My grandparents live out there and my cousins. And so I went out to LA and got an internship at ASCAP, the American Society of Composers, Authors, Publishers.
Mm-hmm.
And went out there and I was like, I'm never coming back to Texas ever again. Then some friends of mine called me. They're like, you want to go on tour? And I was like, for what? And they're like, for everything. We need a piano player. We need a guitar player. We need a singer. Like, you want to be like the fifth Beatle? And I was like, hell yeah, sign me up. I went on tour. And after that, they said, we got to settle down somewhere. And they were like, let's do LA or New York. And I was like, well, what about Austin? It's awesome. I've been there before. They said, okay, let's do it. The guys, you know, they bought a house up in Barton Hills and we all moved in as a band. And that got me back to Austin. And so, you know, it kind of came full circle.
Yeah.
And that was my introduction into being a musician full time. And so when I got back to Austin, I was a Segway tour guide. Used to do Segway tours and then
oh my God, I have so many questions.
Started playing the cajon at the Dizzy Rooster, sitting on the bar top, you know, passing microphones back to the bartenders to MC. And from there, I kind of fell in love with the Austin music, you know, on the fly, live request vibe.
Right.
And yeah.
Okay. We have to get this out of the way really quickly. Worst, or best Segway accident story.
Man, so as a Segway tour guide, you know, I was
just your best story. It could be just your best
proud
story
of my safety record.
They have a safety.
Well, just, you know, there's always a safety demonstration you do, you know, and you know, we prided ourselves on taking riders from the age of like 12 to, you know, 112 or whatever. You know, people come from Okinawa or however old you can get. I
just got this total impression of this old lady, and her front wheels of her wheelchair are on the Segway, and then her back was like this, and she's just like riding like this, like down behind you.
You know, it was.
What was your oldest Segway person? Do you think, roughly, or do you know?
In their 90s. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I mean, Segways are real. It doesn't take a lot to move them. And so if you have someone who's like already rigid and stiff as a board and ready to die, they're probably good to be on there. But what you get into trouble with is when you have somebody who's on the edge, you know, and they're not quite there yet. So this guy was in his.
He's not stiff enough.
He was in his 80s, and you know the paper skin I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like
man. Oh.
Like where if you blow on it too hard, it rips.
Yeah.
You know, and so. We actually went, we made a stop. We used to do this thing that was really cool at the Palmer Event Center, like Segway slaloming back when it was not crowded. And we used to slalom in between
down the sidewalk. Okay.
Yeah. So we did all that, you know, everyone's moving and grooving. We're all on a line. There's like 8 of us. It's like, you know, fucking ducks in a row. And, you know, I'm telling them all about the Austin skyline and just making up stuff because I don't know anything about it. I'm like, you know, that building means the Illuminati, and that's actually looks like a USB port because Austin's going to be a tech city. Am I a prophet? I don't know. But the Austonian, right? It looks like a big USB drive, right? Doesn't it? It's like, hey, beep, boop, boop. Come on over here, Oracle. Everyone, get your asses to Austin.
I would just love to be a 90-year-old on your Segway tour, and you're just telling me this. And I'm just like, the world is. I'm glad I'm getting off this rock.
I'm like, hey, by the way, I'm playing the Dizzy Rooster right after this. Come on out. I was like the nightlife tour guide. You know, they were like, hey, you know,
hey, you should just like drop them all off at the Dizzy Rooster.
I've done that multiple. I did that multiple times. We drove all of our Segways in there. You know, we parked them up against the wall. You know, and lit that happened multiple times.
The only thing that would have made that more dope is if you would have rolled them all up and then you performed at the Dizzy Rooster.
That's what I did.
No way.
That's what
That's baller.
I was like, I'm about to play, and they're like, and I was like, we can just go.
You got to stay.
I had a key.
You're on the tour.
I had a key to the shop, and I was like, you guys can come. We can park our Segways, and I will take you back during my break. I like a little 15-minute break, and I take them back to the shop. But yeah, that was an awesome experience. We were right by the lottery office down 6th Street.
Okay,
so
80-year-old thin paper guy.
Right. Okay. Yeah, the paper man. We went to Sandy's Burgers, and we had just done all this extreme stuff, and I'm like feeling real confident. You know, I had the lights all timed out perfectly where I could be like, whoa, you know, hold my hand up like and get the whole team stopped, you know, with the big fist. And I was feeling good. I thought everyone was participating right. It was about 6 riders, and we went to Sandy's Burgers just to kind of offload and get a snack. It was a 3-hour tour. 3-hour tour. And I was like, okay, we're going to hop off in the middle of this. We're going to get something. We're going to look at the skyline. I'm going to tell them a bunch of bullshit I don't know. And then we're going to hop back on, and I'm going to make my automatic gratuity because it's already 6 people. So who cares? And so this guy, we know we're all parking our Segways, and the way you park your Segways, you know, they're kind of like robo horses, right? They're always constantly moving a little bit back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And so they do really well if you kind of perfectly put them right, both wheels up against a curb. And so there's these little, you know, the parking backers, right? The backstops. And so he puts his Segway up on the backstop, puts 1 foot off, and then he starts doing the rodeo where it starts circling around and around and around. Because he stepped off and he pulled the handle down. So when the handle goes down, the Segway spins in a complete circle, like just a donut. It'll just sit there and do donuts. And so he does that, falls down, hits his elbow, and I'm not joking. Every bit of his elbow skin just decided to pop open. It was like, you know, 26th day of the fucking Christmas, you know, Advent calendar. Just here's some you know, elbow for you, and it was. I was like, he didn't fall that hard. It just
But
hit,
there's blood everywhere,
it just
right?
hit bare skin and just blood everywhere. And his skin was flapping around like a pirate flag. And so I had to call my boss, and he had a little Toyota Prius, and we put him in the back of the Prius, you know, got him carted off to safety, and luckily no litigious action was taken. You know, he recognized that it was, you know, his fault. Like, kind of, everything was, you know, he'd done way worse things. You know, he had, you know, slalom skied. You know,
he'd been in a world war.
Yeah, he probably, you know, he lived through a couple, and yeah.
I mean, I forgot to mention we have a full house tonight.
We do have a full house.
Hey, do you just want to give a quick shout out to your folks?
Oh yeah. We got my friend Jay over here, and we got Scotty, another Scotty, hanging out with us.
But he's Y. We established he's Y. I'm IE.
Yes. Yeah. So Scotty with a Y, but both don't know.
I don't know shit. I don't know anything. Yeah. I don't know if I've ever, you know, I don't know if I've ever vocalized this to you, but I absolutely love what you do musically. I love it. I don't know how to explain what it is. And so I want you to how would you explain what you do, what it is, what it feels to you? Because I know how it feels to me. But it's just like, it's so cool, man. I love what you do, and I'm so happy that you did this podcast and that you're going to do music. It's awesome. Anyways, so how would you explain it?
So I take music like I take. I'll go back to Segway tour guide. It's about confidence. It's about giving the impression that you know what you're doing, but I think the magic in it is in improv. You know, being a good improv artist. You know. The way that you can take a song. I always say, like, if I cover a song, you know, I like to do, I mean, obviously you can't make a living in Austin not playing cover songs. If you're going to be playing in bars, and, you know, you're playing to tourists and people that want to hear songs that they might quote unquote know. So I'll listen to a song, but then I won't listen to it again, and then I'll make it, you know, and I'll make it the way that I remember it being. So I'll make it in the way that I think that it is without referencing the track. So that way it keeps it gets,
it's very fresh, right?
It gets that it's like, hey, well, if I was to have to make the song again without ever hearing it ever again, how would I make this song in the way that I would want to play it? If that makes any sense. Like,
it makes total sense.
Yeah, I try to make it without listening to it at the same time.
I think. And I just thought of this in this moment, and you tell me if this is right or wrong. Have you ever heard like the guy that does like piano bar. He'll do like modern tunes, but he does pop tunes, but he does them piano bar style or whatever, like "Fly Me with a Bullet," or whatever, right? But they're doing a cover, but they have a unique take on it,
right?
And I think you have this take when you do covers that make them not covers. I don't know. Does that make sense? It becomes your song. It becomes a different song.
Absolutely.
It's taken differently.
You know what I mean? It's always the best compliment that I get.
Was that insulting, by the way?
No.
I was trying to find a way to relate that what you do, like how unique it is, because there's a lot of people that they get all butthurt about, he does covers, but like that's not what you do. And I think the way you explained it is amazing.
Yeah, not very strong, but
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you like all kinds of music.
All kinds.
Okay. So in your opinion, what is like the one genre of music that I wouldn't guess that you would like? Like what's something that you listen to that you're like, that you wouldn't know I listen to this. Like, you wouldn't imagine that I listen to this, but it influences you in some way.
Oh man. So I've really been into, when I first when I had a MySpace back in the day, I used to be like Secondhand Serenade, these like emo, tonight will be the night that I will fall for you.
Oh, Joe, Joe just fell in love with you all over again.
You know what I'm talking about? All over again. Don't make me change my mind.
Hey, can you do some? You got Yellow Card in there?
I mean, a yellow card.
Yeah. Can you do some quick?
Ocean Avenue.
Fuck yeah,
There's
bro.
a place on Ocean Avenue where I used to sit and talk with you.
This is your favorite song.
Hey, you like that chorus though? Don't lie. Don't lie.
If I can find you now.
Anyway, so what's something that I wouldn't guess you listen to?
God, see that's I do everything from Adele to Fetty Wap to Nirvana to Phil Collins, so I don't know. I really don't know how. I really like Bob Seger. Maybe you don't know that. See, but I have long hair. You're like, oh, he looks like he's from the 70s, man, or 80s. He might be. But like, I really, when there was like, if there was a time, there was a time when I used to just listen to the Bob Seger radio, on Spotify and just sit there and just listen to it. And, I fell in love with the Beach Boys for a long time. I don't know. I think that because all the styles that I present as I play, I really do go from genre to genre. It's hard to say, like, there's something. I wouldn't even, like, I love Nine Inch Nails. I love metal. I can't.
I got a better game.
Yeah.
All
okay.
right.
Let's play it. Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw shit at you, and you just say yes or no.
Okay.
Yes. Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
You like Taylor Swift?
Yeah. I love Taylor Swift.
Interesting. Okay. Good.
I love the idea that
I like that. When I ask you, I give you a person. You tell me why.
Okay,
That's great.
I love her Folklore album where she
broke up with her boyfriend.
Well, I love more so the fact that she's willing to hide in a suitcase to go somewhere, and also she does that. She hid in a trunk to go places they carry around in a trunk.
What?
Put her in a car, and
I did not know that.
Yeah. And gosh.
The wrong person like stumbled across that. That could be kidnapping.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, sir, I'm gonna
She's famous for her like ability to like avoid paparazzi.
She is.
That's what. Well, yeah, because like you could fit her in like a pool stick case. I mean, like.
I don't know. I think she's pretty tall. I think actually.
I described her to one of my clients the other day as a pickle with two pick arms and legs. That's what I described.
Hey man, I'll look at that pickle.
Hey, and Taylor Swift don't care about me, so don't worry about it.
But hey, if
you like her,
if you care about me, Taylor, I love you.
He's a musician. He likes you. Don't listen to me.
Fuck Jake Gyllenhaal.
That song was about him.
Yeah, it was about him. But what I would say is I admire her ability to be a fellow genre chameleon. Okay, she went in and out of different genres. She started country. She definitely went pop. She definitely, did her thing. And, now she's settling into whatever else. She went pop she went, almost like John Mayer, started pop, did that super country bit, came back kind of thing. And now he's doing looping now on TikTok. Right. So he's like right back into.
Well, he did that 80s album too recently.
Yeah. What was it?
Sob rock. That's right.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. That was my next one. So how you feel about John Mayer?
Love John Mayer.
Okay, that's good.
Queen of California.
Yeah, that's a good song.
I love
John
Age
Mayer.
of Worry.
My girlfriend hates him.
Really?
Hates it. Yeah, and look, babe, when you listen to this, I 100 respect her music choice. I respect how she thinks things musically. It's what I love about her. But there are just certain things we just don't agree on, and John Mayer is one of them.
Well,
anyways, but you like John Mayer.
You'd be hard pressed to get me on an artist that I'd say.
I'm looking. Hang on, give me a minute.
All right.
Okay.
Nickelback. You're talking.
Have you ever covered a Nickelback song?
You're talking to somebody who has. Have I ever covered Nickelback?
Hey,
I have not covered a Nickelback.
Does anybody
song.
want to know what I'm going to ask next?
What?
Can I get you to cover a Nickelback song? Not tonight, but just like at some point, can we get you to cover a Nickelback song?
Look at this photograph.
No, but you gotta do your style, bro. We're not doing Nickelback style.
Right. So a little party trick I used to do when I was a kid was I used to cover Creed. Because Scott Stapp's voice was recognizable. And so I just heard the news today. I used to be like, but that was my little kid voice. It sounded more like, a Christian Scott Stapp. And, that type of rock never really bothered me. And actually, I think Photograph, for those of y'all who might be my age, which is to be disclosed, it was one of my high school graduation songs.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So it was right there, the peak of I'll say, we're all Nickelbackers. Back
what was your high school? You remember your high school graduation song?
I think it was Photograph.
Was it?
Yeah.
You want to? You know what my high school and I'm not even making this shit up. My high school graduation song, it was Mariah Carey. I think it was Vision of Love, and I'm like, how the fuck did we end up with Mariah Carey, Vision of Love?
Yeah, I think you have more questions to answer than I do.
Well, I went to a really small school and we all love each other. I don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously, my vote did not count because I probably would have voted for Boyz II Men at that time.
Oh man,
because I think the class before us had Into the Road and was like, y'all motherfuckers.
So I was
everybody got Into the Road that year.
I was in Vegas one time and I was with a young lady and I was like, hey, who's your favorite boy band? And there was a big old Boyz II Men sign right behind her in the video, and she was like, In Sync. And I panned up to Boyz II Men. But yeah, I love Boyz II Men.
You listen to a lot of rap?
Sometimes my Bluetooth connection on my phone doesn't work, and I have to listen to rap.
So you're not a rap guy?
No. I mean, I definitely listen to rap. I hear it, and
oh man, now we're getting close.
I agree with it. I agree with the way that they, it's the what is it called where you say what you want and then it comes true.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
No. What's it called? Come on.
Manifestation.
Manifestation. There you go. That's what it is. So I listen to rap because it's a lot of manifestation. It's a lot of saying what you want or saying what you have until you actually get it.
I like that.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like I got the AP on my arm, and they're like, "But it's rented right now. But pretty soon it's gonna be mine." And then the song hits, and then it's mine.
Okay. So this is a pretty good.
I got a lot of shoes in my garage.
I feel I don't. Okay. How? Oh yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot.
I'm gonna get even more.
How you feel about Kanye West?
Kanye West.
You listen to Kanye West?
He is the genius. He's the Andy Warhol of his generation. That's what he said. He did. He said
that's very Kanye West of him.
That he's got a STEM player out right now, which I kind of fuck with as an artist that doesn't have released music. I think it's amazing to keep it to yourself.
But you gotta have that pool before you do some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Hey, Kanye, if you're listening to me, man, love you, bro. But no, I think Kanye, I feel for Kanye right now. You know what he's going through and all that stuff.
It's tough. It's tough being a billionaire. I know.
It's tough being a billionaire. It's tough.
Over here is
it's tough going through what he's going through.
Here is an $80,000 a year. I feel his pain.
Man, you're lucky for that. Even.
Hey, I got this real fancy studio. Anyways,
listen. I'm sure that Kanye West, when you have $1 billion and you're considering seriously buying the Lakers, quote unquote, I'm sure that your life can't be that miserable.
I'm just kidding. Everybody has problems. And just having money doesn't make you. I was joking.
I will say this: College Dropout, Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Those were awesome albums. I used to listen to that shit right in my Vespa all around, I used to listen to, Motherfucking Monster, and collaborating with Bon Iver and, doing all sorts of all that stuff. When you're an artist for so long and you're making beats for other people and you're doing so much, how much output could one non-reptilian give you, and he's given us a lot, as far as, Gold Digger, you think about it, take my money. People, you put that on a club and he's like, you're like, that's Kanye.
This is just, I'm probably biased, but I think the thing with Kanye that people don't understand is that he's put out so much music and it's so kind of all weird and different, and every album's kind of different. He's always kind of exploring stuff like that. And that takes a lot of balls to go out there and kind of do that. And then to still have stuff that has influence along the way. I mean, you're constantly evolving as an artist. That's the way I see it. Because, but then when you listen to, I just re-listened to College Dropout. I just re-listened to it. And then I listened to Donda, right? And when you listen to those two albums, it's crazy how much similarity there is. His overall message really didn't change all that much. Who he is didn't change all that much. He did a bunch of crazy crap in between.
Honestly, I didn't like Jesus Walks or that.
But that to be surprised or shocked that he's doing religious stuff is stupid, because if you listen to College Dropout, he was already doing it. That was my kind of thought on it, right?
I think the pop sensibility changed, right? The commercial. It was almost anti. It was almost trying to be so not in this form of a song, or so, a lot of it was long-winded, or just I felt like there was not a lot to hold on to as far as hooks or those type of things that you normally look for. But I guess as an evolving, now it's Donda 2, right?
Right.
It's as an evolving art craft, I guess you can do that. So power to him. I feel like, a similar artist to Kanye. Imagine if Pharrell were just to talk mad shit all the time.
Yeah. He'd be Kanye. Yeah. Because they're very similar.
But Pharrell's prayer hands, Buddha.
Yeah.
Right?
And making makeup products and shit.
Right.
Skincare stuff.
He's very much
and Adidas shoes.
Let the artist you're working with guide the track. And Kanye's like, fuck that, it's my track.
Yeah. Similar approach. They're on opposite ends.
But
but you're right. No, for sure.
They've had the same, if you were to try to weigh out the influence on modern music, you'd probably get somewhere in the same sphere for both those producers.
And I would kind of argue that
they both can't sing.
I would both kind of argue. I would argue that Pharrell didn't want Kanye's life though either. Kanye really wanted that life. I think he wanted to be out there. He wanted people to see him as a rapper, not a producer. Right. Even though Pharrell raps a lot and sings a lot.
Did you watch the Netflix?
I'm on the third episode.
Okay. Yeah.
This is so stupid. I'm having a real hard time watching that third episode, because this is where he's just fucking up constantly. And I'm just oh.
This is where he's running for president and
all the stuff. Yeah. And I'm just kind of it's hard for me to watch. It's like when you watch American Idol and that one kid can't sing, you know what I mean? And he's just fucking up all over the place. You're like, oh, I feel bad for this guy.
Aretha Franklin's granddaughter didn't make American Idol. She tried out.
Well, just because you're Aretha Franklin's granddaughter doesn't mean you get to go on American Idol.
Well, just because you're Kanye West doesn't mean you can run for president.
Jerry Rice's kid sucks at football. I mean,
right.
What's Puff Daddy's kids doing? Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's where I stand on that.
Who would you say like was your biggest influence, like musically?
Ooh.
Or what influenced you? You can be like, hey, what influenced you the most, or like, or you could say a couple things. You say a genre, just like what do you think influenced you the most as a musician?
Okay, so I would say somewhere between Blink-182 and Tropical House, like a Kygo DJ. Like there was two very monumental parts of my life. Like when I started listening to music, it was like Offspring, Blink-182. It was Nimrod, the Green Day album. Like it was like these, very much, punk.
Do you remember music in your house, like with your parents and stuff like that? Did they listen to music?
Well, I had to sneak music into my house. My very first like sneaked in album was Rob Zombie, Dragula.
So your parents didn't let you listen to music?
Well, they didn't let me listen to explicit music.
Okay, so what could you listen to as a kid? What were you allowed to listen to?
Now that's what I call music.
That's it?
I mean, like I had every single one, So I thought, because when you grow up overseas, you don't go to theaters, you don't go to concerts, you don't go to shows, and so I was like, well, now that's what I call music. I remember very specifically flying through Frankfurt on one of the connecting flights, and we'd go to like these like Sam Goody's type of places, like the CD stores. And in certain places, like I remember the Offspring's album, The Offspring, would be non-parental advisory in one place and parental advisory in another place. And so my mom had this, remember they used to have headphones where you could listen to the CDs before you buy it.
Right.
My mom would like listen to the albums before I could buy them. And there was one song on the Offspring that was just like said, bitch too much. And so she was like, you can't have it, but it didn't have a parental advisory, And so I was always trying to sneak past, getting like, because if you listen to Nimrod or you listen to Green Day albums, you listen to Blink-182 albums, you're going to get a lot of, adult themes, I would say, but like, in a place that's, not conservative like Germany versus a place that's conservative like, say, like South Africa or wherever you're trying to buy your album stateside where they're going to have the advisory on it. I was always, trying to game the system by getting it on the connecting flights.
Yeah.
And that's how I got my music in. I had a really good friend back in like the third grade named Richard, British guy, and introduced me to Metallica and fencing at the same time. Just a really crazy type of, I mean, we listened to we built a pillow fort and listened to Ride the Lightning,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. All right. So we kind of talked about this before, but so talk about all the places like you kind of grew up. So kind of give me the timeline of like kind of where were you born in California?
Born in Walnut Creek.
Okay.
About a year and a half old, moved to Sumatra, Indonesia, lived there for 5.5 years. Moved back to California, back to the Bay Area. And I was there, went to like Burton Valley High School, like, kind of just San Francisco for another year and a half. And then we got the news we're going out to Nigeria, moved to Lagos, Nigeria. We were there for 5 years. And then we were all kind of reaching the middle school, high school age, where everyone normally sent their kids off to Switzerland or did the private school thing. My parents decided to go to Houston, and so I went to Houston. I was a northeast Houston, Kingwood, and was there for high school. And then after that, I went to UT for college, and then bounced from UT to Santa Monica to Austin to Houston, and then back to Austin.
So how did you? Was from California. Your first stop was Indonesia. Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
So why? I'm assuming you moved there because your parents had to move there.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So what was the reason why they moved there?
My dad is in the they always like, is your parents military or
Sure.
missionary?
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, no, it's a paramilitary called oil. He's in the oil industry. So
Okay.
So it was Chevron and Chevron Texaco. So we were out doing that stuff.
So what? I'm just kind of curious because like, So I basically have never left Texas. I grew up in a really small town in Texas, and and I bounced around, but like got here. So and I've gotten to travel like later on in my life, and I realized just like how important that is to travel, like your perspective of things. So like just like speak to really quickly like how that travel like shaped you and like kind of what it taught you kind of about life that you think like if you had just lived in California, it would have been like probably totally different, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%.
So just like kind of speak to what that was like and what your perspective of the world is because you did travel.
We used to have international days. I went to international school, so we used to have international days. I had friends that were, you know, we used to observe every holiday from Kwanzaa to Ramadan to everything because it was an inclusive environment before inclusive environments were required. It was that way because you literally had representatives of every single. It was like a miniature UN.
Yeah,
honestly, really, it was. I think we had. In my class alone, we had like 20 something different nationalities represented, and it was a class of 30, so it wasn't like a lot of people had a lot of things in common. I had a Lebanese friend, I had an Israeli friend, I had friends, from all over the place. And then you're also in school with like the vice president of Nigeria's kids. It's just you're living. It's an American international school, but at the same time, it's really a conglomeration of a lot of different nationalities. And what I would say is, the thing that I learned about being overseas and being around a bunch of different people, I didn't even realize really that anything was, different about that until I found out that we were moving back to the States on 9/11 that day.
Oh,
actually.
wow.
Yeah, it was that day. And it was literally just so happened. Like my dad had just accepted transfer orders, and he accepted them, came back, told us that we're moving, and then we were on a different time zone, and then all of a sudden on the news came that we got attacked, and then it was like a week. The whole next week, it was like as an American international school, they were like, what does this mean for our kids? As far as like, is America declaring war on this, as an American international school, if America's declaring war on somewhere like a Middle Eastern country, we had a lot of Middle Eastern kids in our school. And, a lot of them were my friends, like you didn't think about that before then, really. Cause, you just didn't really think about that. And, so what I learned about traveling was that we're all not that different from each other, and that the experiences that we have with one another is what makes us who we are. And, you are bonded with people by those experiences, and by it's not, you can bond with, bonding with people in real life and in different situations. So like, say you're overseas in a hostel, or, you're staying, you're hanging out somewhere where there's a bunch of different people. I went on tour in Greece for like six weeks, and there was people from, Sweden, Ireland, Canada, the United States, from Greece. Right. And what you realize there is like the people that are there are all there for the same reason. They're there to have a good time. They're there to, enjoy life, and you get to know them, and then you feel like these people are your countrymen, or they're your kindred spirits. And I realized that, I think at a young age for me, was that they were my classmates,
right?
And so you didn't really feel that difference because you were participating in life together,
right?
And so traveling can do that. If you're really in an insulated community, you're doing life with one type of person, or one group of people all the time. And it might be harder for you and later in life to step out and do that. But when you do, and you let your guards down and you participate in it, you realize that it is the participation. When you participate in life with other people, you find common ground, and you find camaraderie with those people.
Okay. So 2 quick things. One, We did not mention earlier that you don't just do cover song. You have a bunch of your own music, right?
Yes.
But the second part of that is, would it be fair to say that what you just described is the feeling that you try to invoke in the crowd when they're at your shows?
I would say that, yeah.
Because
community.
when you were describing that, I was thinking about being at one of your shows and what it feels like and how you engage the crowd and how you're getting everybody together. And especially on 6th Street, there's going to be a lot of different folks coming out to these random ass bars and showing up, and the crowd would just get into it and they would all be kind of one together. And that's like really, really cool. And you're describing this whole thing. And I was like, that's exactly what it's like to be at one of your shows, especially when you're playing your music. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, you give these people little elbows with little stuff that they might know, and then you drop in your own stuff, and they don't even know that they don't know. Like, I mean, they're just into it because they're feeling what you're putting out. And I think that carries across the covers, your original music. It's great.
Yeah, I think that is the experience of music in history is it's like something that you participated in together,
right?
It's something we've been doing forever, right? And it's something that we could all get behind, or I mean, hypothetically get behind. Maybe not you and Kanye, but
well. I mean, look, not everybody has to like. Look,
no,
I don't
exactly.
Nobody has to like Kanye. I don't care.
You don't
if
have to root
likes
for the same team, but you might like the sport.
Yeah. You want me to give you some baseball questions real quick? I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
we talked about before the podcast that he does baseball. What was it? Baseball melodies, right?
There's a group of guys that they do like unboxing of baseball cards online, and they've been awesome. They're called the shout out to Bakersfield Hobby.
I'll follow. This sounds interesting already.
They don't, please. I've never, like I said, I hope they don't listen to this because I've never.
Well, I mean, they're definitely gonna listen to it.
I've never gone to see their.
You don't have to do that.
Their show. You
don't have to do that. You're just making their music. You don't have to go to their show.
But they have. I've made cover songs from everything from. Oh my gosh! From like Shaggy, It Wasn't Me to the Full House theme to the Golden Girls to.
So you did the Full House theme, but then
I even did what's that? Arms of an Angel,
the Black Crows?
No, oh gosh, no. What's that? Sarah McLachlan, yeah.
The one from the dog commercial?
From the dog commercial.
What the fuck?
Yeah, like to Coldplay to
What were they showing using Sarah McLachlan's like dog dying commercial?
I did Papa Roach Last Resort.
Oh, that
version. I mean, I'm saying like every single type of these guys just keep hitting me. They're like, we have these baseball themed lyrics. We have this song that we wanted to go to.
Is that fun?
It is fun, man. I mean,
it's kind of like doing a crossword puzzle.
It's fun, and like I said, like the next one I'm working on is Backstreet Boys. Bye bye bye. Right.
But so what'd you say?
They said it was like the chorus is like cry cry cry, and then it's like a bunch of different like I guess baseball games that didn't work out. But I don't watch baseball. I don't know the players' names. I always have to make them like spell it out phonetically for me, like how to say certain names. And
can you give me 3 baseball player names just in history, in all of history? Just 3.
God. All right, let's do it.
You can do this.
Yeah, I could do it. Sammy Sosa.
Yeah.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Yes.
And Mark McGwire.
Nice.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
All three on steroids.
Hey,
give me the asterisks. All right.
Hey, for 100%, I thought you would say Babe Ruth, that you didn't say Babe Ruth, but you know who Babe Ruth is, right?
Yeah, the pig.
No, Babe Ruth.
No,
the baseball. Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Of course you do.
No, the candy bar.
Yeah, exactly. What were we talking about here?
Yeah.
Well, so how I usually like try to wrap this stuff up, and we kind of talk about things like during the podcast and as it goes on, just like how do people like what the podcast is about is like trying to kind of just be in the middle and make sure that you like do the things to take care of yourself and we didn't mention the fact that like you're a dad, right? And so like
I'm a dad.
Yeah. And our kids are real close in age.
That's true.
They could technically date.
1.5 years old.
Now my daughter's cute. We're going to demand a lot of stuff.
Hutch is very cute.
Well, you know what? I mean,
my son,
we could be like long-haired father-in-laws?
Is that
how
in-laws? Yeah,
in-laws? Yeah.
You know,
You would like this family over here.
The blessing of being a musician is the schedule of being able to work in the evenings. You know, a child goes to bed at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock. You know, however you adjust the clock back,
Right.
they go to bed. You know, you change the time, they go to bed that time.
Nobody told me I could do that.
You
I
can
didn't
just put
think
it back
about
an
that.
hour and be like, look, oh, it's 7 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock. You put them to bed and you got an extra hour to yourself.
Or what you could do is just put like a clock with hands, and then they won't know what time it is
They won't know.
because no one knows how to read a regular clock anymore.
That's true. Yeah.
Just make it not digital.
And as a parent, you don't have the responsibility to teach them that.
No.
That's the teacher's job. But yeah, no, being a father has opened my eyes to small wonders in the world, and also the joys of regular, monotonous, low-key life, you know. And
Can be cool, right?
It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. You know, I take every single day we go on a walk, we go get coffee, I get a croissant, a ham and Swiss croissant. We split it. We go to the park. We walk back. You know, we might go to our local grocery store, pick up some blackberries or bananas or milk, you know, snacks or whatever. And, you know, member at the zoo. We'll go to the zoo once a week. We'll go to these play places, you know, and, you know, having a child during COVID or,
Right.
you know, when it's, you know, everyone's like, stay away from us. It's interesting now trying to get him to interact with other children.
It's weird.
You know, not just only want to hang out with me, but you know, trying to develop a well-rounded person.
Yes,
is a craft of itself, and it almost feels like you're like a rock tumbler. You know, you're trying to just keep it moving and let that rock tumble around in there and shine up, you know, and you're like, hey, whatever, you know, it's going to hit its head sometimes. It's going to, you know.
That is an amazing way to kind of describe parenting. I mean, you know, you're just letting that rock go in the rock until it comes out and it's polished.
Yeah.
You're like, look, I did a good job.
You did a great job, but it bounced around a little bit.
Yeah, you know, you hit it head a couple times.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You're going to make some mistakes. Might chip something off.
For me, I can say he's a boy, he's got bruises, you know.
Yeah. Well, I say that I say the same thing. I don't hold her back like at all. Like I try to, you know, the world's like tough, and I want her to be ready for like how tough it could be, you know, and stuff like that. And so, I kind of just let her go. I get in trouble a lot.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna get in more trouble, but I mean, you know, like we're doing like daredevil slides, and like sometimes like my girlfriend will take it to the park and she'll be like, this slide's too steep. And I'm like, oh, well,
you know, I put Hutch up on a pony in Houston at the old McDonald's farm. And, you know, they're like, oh, you want to take a picture? And like, yeah. And I put him up there and, you know, he's barely walking and I step back to take a photo and they're like, oh, and I'm like, he's fine. Let him sit up there. And he's like, he gave me the most mean mug look, just, you know, straight face. You know, he looked at me like
gangster photo.
Oh yeah. I was like,
say that
John Wayne, like in the, you know,
save that one for graduation.
Yeah, it was great. And I am the same way. Like, you know, he goes down, he's learned how to go down slides. He goes down feet first on his belly, you know, and, you know, sometimes he goes a little too fast or, you know, falls off. And, you know, as a parent, it's all about, as long as you don't overreact to whatever just happened to him.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's like, if you act like that's normal, then life's not going to be so hard.
Hey, no. This is my total move. Like she'll fall like really bad, and I'll just go like this. I'll go, oh, she didn't, and I'm just kind of like bracing myself for her crying, and then she won't cry, and I'll be like, all right, good.
Or it's the opposite, right? Where the mouth's already open and the cry's not coming yet. It's like,
yeah, and I just I literally really like I literally just turn my back and just hope that like she just changes her mind. Like you know what I mean? But then she'll cry and I'll be just like, oh, what happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
When you get that when you get that delayed cry, it's time for a change of venue, change of scenery. You know, a Dino Ranch or, you know, whatever you're watching.
It's nap time around here.
It's time to pull out all the stops as a parent. You know exactly what they want all the time, you know, whether it's the car keys, the remote, you know, they want to play in the toilet, you open that toilet seat up. You know?
I'm not 100% against that. So you're a dad, you're a musician. So what do you do to be like good? Like, how do you take care of yourself? Are you like a yoga guy? Like, what do you do so that you can do all this stuff?
You know,
is music kind of your therapy?
I would say, you know, so recently I learned how to do transcendental meditation.
Nice.
TM. And
I know nothing. I'm very interested.
It was great. They describe it as your brain is you know, it's an ocean, right? And there's a lot of choppiness on the top, like waves, and then you know, but at the simultaneously underneath those waves is somewhere real down deep where it's real dark and still. And so your mind is existing on those two planes all the time. And so as a transcendental meditator, you are in your submarine and you are just simply sinking down to the peace, even though there's waves above you going and crashing. And so that's where it takes you. You know, you just you get this mantra and it's just like a weight, and it takes you down into that deep level of your somewhere in your mind where it's calm.
So how often do you do this?
Not as much as I should.
How often do you try to do it?
I you know, you're supposed to do it 30 minutes a day, twice a day.
It's rough.
And I definitely haven't been doing it as much as I should.
Say out yourself.
Well, you know, you don't say, you know, shout out to Austin TM. But at the most stressful part of my life, I was doing it twice a day, and it significantly helped me too. It's like you know, your serotonin, your dopamine, it gets your mind in the same area as you get to when you're in REM sleep. You know, the same, your frequencies are moving slower. And so you do 30 minutes of it and you feel refreshed and rejuvenated. And, you know, it's something that once you learn the technique, it's not a practice-based practice. It's not, once you learn it, you're as good as somebody who's done it for 80 years.
It's
just like, it's like once you know it, once you can get there, you can get there.
Yeah.
You know, once you've been shown the path, you can get there. So, you know, yeah, that helped me out a lot with, you know, staying grounded. But then also, I think as a parent, you realize that you have to be, in some senses, you know, you're like, you don't have, you know,
you gotta be you gotta be neutral, man. You can't.
You have to be, you know, even keeled, because you see those things come out in you when you get frustrated that you don't want to see come up in your child.
Well, they didn't do anything. And like, if they did something, they don't know, like right. At this point, right? As young as our kids are. But what I mean by that is, like, if you're having a bad day, like you don't get to make them have a bad day because you're having a bad day. They had nothing to do with that. And if they did, that it probably wasn't intentional. So like they're learning, you know what I mean?
Definitely. And music is still always a big outlet for me, you know, when I can get up and perform a song. And, you know, I'm, you know, I might have sung these lyrics 100 times before, but, you know, if you're having a certain type of day and then you sing certain lyrics, you know, I end up finding that I can put different emotion behind it, you know, to get out what you need to get out, you know. And so it might affect my playlist, my song choice a little bit, the day that I've had, but it's more so for me,
right?
You know, it's more so, you know, I will be able to put a little bit extra into it, or, you know, I like to play darts, and, you know, I like to throw things, and yeah, I mean, there's other ways to get it out.
I like how you just slipped in there, like, I you know, I don't know, I do transcendental medication, and I just like to throw things, and then I just, you know, you just kind of like, I mean, you know, but I mean, I'm coming to the conclusion that, like, taking care of yourself mentally doesn't necessarily have to look one way. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the best for anybody else. Like, how you find a way to detach and kind of make yourself right could just look 1,000 different ways.
You know what I mean? I'd say, you know, we go, you know, walking is always good. Everyone always says walking is good for your mental health. You know, I definitely do that because I have a child and he needs to get outside, and I like to walk with him, you know, just because it makes you feel good as a parent when you can get your kid outside of the house for a little bit, you know. So, but at the same time, you know, you're still you're still a young, blossoming adult in Austin, Texas. You should still have things, like
things you go out and things you like to do, right?
Go take a trip, go stay out too late. I don't know, smoke your friend's cigarette. I don't know, do what you need to do to feel like a human being. But like all in moderation, right? That's
sure.
It really is what it is. I've been on the other side of that where it was in excess, and I think that having offspring, definitely grounds you in the sense of, I need to be here for a long time, and I need to be a good role model, and I need to be,
it should ground.
It should.
It doesn't get everybody.
It doesn't get everybody, but for those of you who do have an offspring, you should be a good role model.
And you should try to be grounded for your kids.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
Like that, they're dependent on you.
Do it for the children. Do it for your audience.
I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and
do it for the people that are in your life. Honestly, if anything, because you look around, especially in a polarized time like right now. I have family members on all ends of the spectrum, from vaccinated, unvaccinated, from whatever, right, left, everything. Being from California and having lived in Texas, and I would say that the people that are able to Johnny Cash it and walk the line, and just stay in somewhere in the middle where you're not stepping too far into one realm or the other. Those are the people that have, they're able to still enjoy the life now, not be too worried, because I could tell you, we've been through worse as people.
We'll go through worse.
We'll go through worse.
Yeah.
The time you're having now that seems really hard, a couple years from now won't seem so bad. The only finality to anything is, when you decide
I gotta think that the people of Ukraine don't give a fuck about COVID right now.
I gotta say that no masks
you know
over there.
But I mean, I guess what I'm saying is like, as bad as they think we have it, like it could be way worse. And you got to keep that perspective of like, that like we have it like pretty good. So take advantage of it.
That's true. We do. We have a good. I think as artists, if you're able to, for me especially, if you're able to even make a living as an artist, you're already winning. You're living the dream. People say, well, like, you think you ever want to make it one day, and that's like, I've made it the last 5 years, 6 years, because that's what I've been doing every day, and it's like that is, in my definition, can you put food on the table? Can you pay your rent? Can you live your life? Can you travel a little bit? Do you have a person you can share your life with? Do you have something you can show for your life? If you can check those boxes off, doesn't matter what you're doing.
You're doing all right, right?
You're doing all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey man, did you enjoy doing this?
This is my first podcast. I'd say, yeah.
Podcast virgin.
Enjoyed it. I loved it. Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm not necessarily marking this, but I might have shirts that just say podcast virgin, and I just give it to people that never have done a podcast before. Is that too bad, Joe? We can edit all this out. Anyways, man, hey, I truly appreciate you doing this. There's going to be music wrapped in and out of this. We're going to have Joe's going to be doing some cool filming for us.
Yes.
So I truly appreciate doing this. I appreciate you doing the musical stuff. I always make everybody, when they get out here, give me a hug. You can push that mic forward. You got to
let's do it. Oh, come on. Yeah.